It's funny. I was having a conversation with some friends over failure and just like talking about failure and how they talked about, oh, they failed at a couple things and they don't know if they can keep doing things. And I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about? I fail all the time. I failed more than you guys. And they don't see it. I don't think a lot of people see the internal failures or the failures that people go through. And I I have a video with the Godfather speaking about failures as it's a normal thing for people to be successful. For high value men, high value people, they fail all the time. So let's check it out.
High value men are failures.
That we
They got
are.
lots of failures because they try things. So oftentimes people try to throw people's failures up in their faces, but it's a requirement.
They talk about like the life worth living and, regrets and things like that. The people that never take risks, that never fail, that never really do anything that can cause failure, live a very mediocre life. Very mediocre life. You have to take chances. You have to do things. You have to try things. Sports, hanging out with friends, chatting with people. There's so many things that in the realm of failing that we can kind of learn from.
If you haven't failed, I don't trust you. Neither do most high value men. That's why there's group acceptance. Somebody who just came in and got no dirt on them, what did Alonzo say? In order for somebody to trust you, you got to have a little dirt on you. In order for people to trust you in high
True.
value, you got to have a lot of failure on you. You got to have some failure on you. Oh, you'd been bankrupt. You'd had a repossession. You'd had to move in with your mama. You'd had a repossession or foreclosure. You
Guys, I've had a repossession when I was with my ex-wife. Like again, I wasn't doing that great. I wasn't focused on the correct things. I failed a marriage. I failed 12 years worth of a relationship. I got repossessed. I never had a really like stable career throughout most of my life. I always tried so many entrepreneur things. I have a life insurance and health insurance license I do still use here and there. I did real estate. I was in a call center. I freaking did Medicare. I just attempted so many things and I just kept failing. I kept failing. And of course, failure makes everybody feel miserable, right? But I think the best part is if you can pick yourself up off of that failure and work on the next failure, it feels less of a failure in a sense, in my opinion. At least just from how I'm like processing in my head.
had a bankruptcy. Oh, okay. All right. I can trust you. But if it's all been smooth sailing, oh, you just went from college, from high school to Princeton, and from Princeton to clerking, and from clerking to, and you just went straight. Oh no, we don't trust you. You ain't.
Yeah, it's the same thing as like the trust fund babies or the trust fund people, or people come from really high, well, from good means in a sense. We don't seem to think that they're worth the effort and the funds in a sense because they didn't earn it, right? Their family earned that money. They didn't earn that money. They didn't do anything hard. They didn't do anything special to be where they are. They just, you know, kind of got lucky with the genetic lottery of being born in a better family.
Never had no adversity. That's one of the facts of being high value. Two, action. You got to do something. You got to move. You got to take action. You don't sit around and analyze everything over and over again. Action does things. You have to take action. You have to fail and you have to take action. Failure and action. The next part, change. And here's the biggest problem, change. And this is in particular in the black community. Let me talk to black folks real quick. See, black people will love to talk about, some black folks will like to say, well, you talking all this high value this, you that, but that dude wasn't shit back in high school, or he wasn't shit over on here, or back in his neighborhood, or back over whatever. Jesus could do no good works in his own town because they would not accept him.
True.
See, people oftentimes want to leave you stuck where they met you. Say, well, he wasn't shit 3 years ago, and now he's on this whole high value thing, or he wasn't shit. I've heard that mentioned about content creators, and that's really a black folk thing. Get over it. People can change. And black men, let me tell you, folks will try to tell you shouldn't change. You need to change often. You need to take a phoenix approach. If high value had a mascot, it would be the phoenix.
I think the phoenix makes sense. Rebirth, constantly rebirthing yourself to something new in a sense, or just a new being Because you fail. You burn yourself out constantly because you're failing. I think that makes total sense to me that The Godfather uses the Phoenix as the representation of it.
because it can crash and burn and then all of a sudden reignite because it you can go from 1 year being on the street, 7 years later high value.
True.
And
I mean, I'm not saying I'm high value by any means, but it doesn't take too long. I mean, since from my divorce till now, I've grown. I've not just, mentality wise, everything, but financially, career wise, even just like little businesses, I've grown quite a bit. And I'm in such a better position now than I was after the divorce, which is about 4 or 5 years ago now. You think about it, it just takes time and effort. You can't just expect things to just magically appear and you're successful.
and a change component is in there. And the big problem is people want things to stay the same. Why? Because typically if you like the prom queen, or if you were the shit in high school or something like that, you peak too soon. High value is littered with late bloomers.
True.
High value is littered with late bloomers. You don't need to, you bloomed in high school or college in your 20s, but you got stuck. High value, you bloom in your late 30s or 40s.
He isn't wrong, guys. I didn't bloom until what? I'm 38. I'm barely blooming. Like my buds are barely starting to open. So I'm barely in that journey of success. I just have piles of failures on top of it.
Oh, I'm getting to it. So failure, action, change, and the last thing, it takes time.
It does.
Time and tenacity, but time more than anything else. Time, 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 time. You cannot become high value in a season.
Nope.
So,
I mean, you can get lucky, but I wouldn't ever bet on luck in a sense. I want to bet on myself and my abilities.
it takes time, it takes effort, and the time is the variable. It requires patience. It requires failing, trying again, failing better. It requires laying down, rolling over, crawling, standing, walking, running.
And doing it all over again, 2, 3 times, 5 times, maybe even 100 times over.
So there was several things that people who really don't like this thing, because you're not supposed to have failure, or you're not supposed to change, and you're not supposed to, welcome. So when a man does all these things, he expects a worthy reward. What are you? He expects a worthy prize. What are you? If you're the prize, what is it worth? What's the value to a man? So, ladies, what value do you bring to a man like this? A man like that, think about it. A man like that, a man who's had failures, setbacks, catastrophic failures, and had to claw his way back. He wasn't content with just staying right here. He wasn't content just working a job. He had a failure, and then he had to get back out there and do it in public, because once you fail, see, we take failure, especially in some communities, you take failure as like, that makes you not worthy. Sorry, failure makes you.
It does. In the Asian community, failure is huge, right? I always say it. I'm the black sheep in my family. Like literally, I'm the darkest complexion in my family. Plus, I went to jail a couple times, drugs. I do something that's totally different from my normal family. They all have donut shops and, normal businesses. I do YouTube, and again, was very degenerate and bad when I was younger, in a sense.
Eminently worthy, because the fact that you got back up, that's why a lot of people like these Rocky movies. You got knocked down, but you get back up.
Yeah.
What do you do when you get hit? What do you do when something falls apart, when it fails? And the fact that you had the balls to stand up and do it again in public, check your ego, and get back out there and take action and change and start doing what works and do it over a period of time, those men are special. And the higher up there,
again, I talk about grit. I used to talk about grit a lot more often when I first started the channel. Now I probably don't talk about it as much, but grit is the number one key to success. Like that is probably the number one key factor in all successful people, is how much grit they got. The amount of failures that probably should have stopped them from going forward did not. They kept going. They kept dreaming. They kept doing, and they kept learning.
They go, the more special they get. Do you, what value do you bring to them?
You know, I tell men to be good men and to be of value to the people around you, and you can't really do that without failing. You really can't, because you have to learn how to do these things. In no way you've been able to be of value to the people around you right off the bat. That's just not how things work. You had to learn skills, you had to learn to solve problems, you had to have learned to communicate, you had to have learned to be cordial with others. There's so many factors in success, and failing is the biggest part of it, and grit. Please like, subscribe, comment down below. I really appreciate that, and I'll catch you guys next time. Ciao.